10 years ago, a group of gods transformed everyone on Earth into players in a brutal game that forced them to kill monsters in the real world. Sehan Kim saw how this game would end. Everyone on Earth died except him. He was given the chance to travel back in time, determined to beat the gods at their own game. You have successfully completed the game, with a purple light effect, which indicates a notification or moment of success. A man looks wounded and desperate. It's over. Confirms that the battle has reached its tragic end, as if everything is predetermined and irreversible. The world is shown transformed into a deadly game arena. 10 years ago, this world became the stage for a game, suggesting that all the tragedies occurring today stem from a cruel game system that began a decade ago. An Area A03 sign stands in the ruins of a destroyed city, marking a deadly game zone where monsters and humans fight to the death. The world has become a merciless battlefield. A mysterious giant eye appears in the darkness, symbolizing the overseeing entity that governs the game. It is the master behind the system, overseeing and controlling life and death. A human is like a puppet, trapped and controlled by the system. The phrase, "we were not the ones meant to enjoy the game," emphasizes that humans are merely pawns, suffering in a game designed for the amusement of others. It was revealed that beings from far above the heavens were both spectators and masters of the game. They were the ones who used the human world as entertainment, unmindful of the suffering within it. These creatures don't just watch, but descend into the world via avatars. With fake bodies, they play and kill, turning human suffering into entertainment. They fight and slaughter not to survive, but to entertain the gods who choose and control them. The battlefield was littered with corpses and destruction. Humans and monsters fell senselessly, showing how cruel and unfair the gods' game was. A lone warrior survives in a shattered world. Humanity has come to an end, signifies that humanity has been wiped out, and all that remains is one person at the end of everything. Angrily and desperately, he said that this whole game was nothing but a cruel joke, where human lives were being risked for the amusement of the gods. A giant wormhole appears in the sky. It's the only way out. Staring ahead in despair, alone and wounded, he couldn't fight fate and couldn't pursue the only way out of this game world. The game ends with a bad ending, a lonely world. He rejects the bad ending outcome. He coldly stares at the screen and thinks, "So this is the bad ending," indicating that the story isn't truly over. For him, a world without humans is the worst possible ending, and he does not accept the outcome of this game as right. He gripped his weapon and bitterly called this world a lonely world. The name seemed all too fitting, emphasizing the utter loneliness after the destruction of humanity. A congratulatory message appears as all quests have been completed. This means the character has completed the entire game alone, even though the result is an empty and desolate world. After all the quests were completed, the system announced that the server would be shutting down. He realized that the world was truly over. No more quests, no more people. With sword in hand, he stared into the void. Even though the world was ending, his determination and consciousness remained, ready to face whatever came after the end. He took a deep breath, calming his mind, not as a player, but as a human being finally free. Before him, the final sword hung in the air. One more stab will spell the end, or the beginning of freedom. As death was imminent, a strange light appeared, a sign that his fate was not yet over. In his moment of despair, a mysterious system appears, giving him a second chance at life and changing his destiny. After completing all the quests, he realizes this world is like a game. The points he earns can only be used to purchase mysterious DLC that could mean the difference between life and death. He discovers the second package, a DLC that unlocks a new life path and grants significant bonuses, a sign that his destiny can be reset and changed. He was shocked. This second playthrough package might not even be known to the gods, meaning he could restart the world with new rules and take revenge on all who oppressed him. He realizes this DLC is a hidden trump card, a secret reward after completion, giving him the chance to reverse the fate of the entire world. With a bitter smile, he accepted the reality. His life is just a game, and now he holds a hidden ace to win. With renewed determination, he activated the second package, ready to begin a second cycle of life to slaughter the rulers, not the victims. Having saved up points at the end of the game, he could purchase the DLC and secure a future in the second round. Transaction successful, second package activated, and special bonuses are ready to change your life on your second playthrough. Light enveloped him. The reset process began, marking a rebirth with far greater power and opportunity. With anger and determination, he left the bad ending behind and leaped into a new destiny through a second playthrough. The system gives him a second chance. A new playthrough begins to change the bad ending into a better fate. He woke up gasping for breath, realizing his earlier death was just a bad ending. And now he was back at the beginning with the chance to change everything. He woke up and suddenly found himself on a park bench. He realized he had actually gone back in time, seeing people walking around as usual. He checked his power system, realizing the status window wasn't open yet, meaning his powers weren't active even though he had returned to the past. He stood in the garden in a calm and peaceful atmosphere, starting to realize this was the world before the chaos began, and he was weighing his next steps. A mysterious woman appeared before him, suggesting that something was about to change in that brief peace. He was surprised because the woman turned out to be Jisoo, someone from his past who he never thought he would meet again. The woman was Jisoo Han, his close friend from college. Now they met again unexpectedly, leaving him shocked and awkward. They have an awkward conversation. He says not to worry, while he remembers their past close but never truly open relationship. Jisoo reprimanded him in a friendly tone, noticing he looked tired from playing games all night, a sign of their old closeness still lingering. He smiled faintly and asked what the date was, indicating that his mind was still in disarray and hadn't really started again. Jisoo informed him that it was August 17th, making him realize how long it had been since he had truly lived a normal life. At that moment he realized something strange. It looks like the ground underneath is cracking. A giant monster creature emerged from the cracked ground, shrouded in a dangerous purple energy, marking the beginning of a great catastrophe that had finally begun in earnest. From the cracks in the ground emerged many rampaging green monsters, charging fiercely and signaling the beginning of the invasion of terrifying creatures. Witnesses began to notice something strange. The ground was shaking and a mysterious energy filled the air, leaving everyone wondering what was actually emerging from below. People thought it was all just costumes and movie scenes, without realizing that the terrifying creatures that appeared were a real threat. A group of small monsters invaded the area from above, surrounding the location and turning the situation into chaos in an instant. A commotion was heard from outside, causing Sahan and his friend to rush outside to see what was going on. Sahan restrained his friend from acting rashly, choosing to observe the situation first because his gut feeling told him something was wrong. With a sharp look he told his friend to stay where he was, signaling that danger was about to appear and he was ready to face something terrible. A crowd of people began to gather and whisper, attracted to something strange in the middle of the field, signaling that something big was about to happen. She turned into shock when something unexpected emerged from the crowd, signaling a major threat was beginning to unfold. The crowd suddenly panicked when screams were heard that someone had been stabbed, making the situation chaotic and dangerous. A man is attacked by a terrifying green creature and is badly injured, his body trembling as his life hangs in the balance. The creature attacked again with a quick slash, causing the victim to stagger and the situation to become even more deadly. The monster's face appeared with a terrifying smile, signaling that the next attack would be even more brutal and dangerous. A group of small monsters gathered around, laughing mockingly, indicating that they were not afraid yet and were ready to attack together. The goblins were getting closer with fierce faces and a purple aura surrounding them, indicating that a major attack was about to begin. She and the other people around him finally realized that it was not a show, but a real monster that appeared in the middle of the city, making everyone panic and afraid. The crowd panicked and ran, but that was the worst decision. The goblins took advantage of the chaos to prey on the weak, attacking each one mercilessly. Goblins attack with weapons from behind. Because they are weaker, they fight with cunning. Turning your back on them is courting death. the goblin struck his victims mercilessly, knocking one person down and spreading terror among the crowd. She pulled Sahan and shouted for them to run away immediately to save themselves. She screamed in panic as she ran, realizing that great danger was threatening him from behind. Sahan was warned just as the monster's deadly attack hurtled towards him. Goblin monster attack hit hard, making the situation even more chaotic and dangerous for everyone. She pulled Sahan to escape, trying to save him from the attack of the raging monster. Sahan turned his head calmly as the goblin was about to attack, a sign that he was ready to face the monster without fear. Sahan's past is revealed. Once a coward and weakling, he now faces down goblin attacks ready to prove that he has changed. She blocked the attacking goblin, signaling his determination to protect Sahan, not run away again. Sahan stood frozen. He knew that his friend was in danger. Sahan remembers his bitter past. 10 years ago he left Jisoo and ran away, haunted by guilt that has now returned. A mysterious system sound appears, signaling that Sahan's new system or power is about to be activated and synchronized. Sahan calmly swiped the system screen, signifying that he was no longer a weakling, but a player ready to face the world and avenge his past. Sahan clenched his fists in determination. He had witnessed the end of the world, and this time he swore he would not run away again. He realized that the world was different now than it was 10 years ago, and all his old strategies no longer worked. Sahan immediately moved quickly to attack, facing the dangerous monster without hesitation, showing that his strength was now much more brutal than in the past. The goblin cut him down with one swift attack. But he managed to avoid the quick attack. Sahan continued the attack with a powerful slash, knocking the monster flying and hitting it hard. Sahan spun rapidly in the air, swinging his weapon to deliver a deadly follow-up attack to the monster. Sahan's attack hit its target, slashing the monster's body until it was badly injured and spewing green blood. He smiled confidently after his slash was successful, indicating that he was superior and in control of the fight. The system announced a new record. Sahan became the first player to successfully defeat the goblin on this stage. The system awards a first completion bonus. The DLC store is unlocked, remaining points are carried over to the next run, and forum access is activated once the sync is complete. Synchronization complete. The second playthrough begins, with the world still running with the same game rules, ready to continue the adventure with the advantages of the previous run. Standing over the corpse of the defeated goblin, confirming his first victory and showing that he is now much stronger and ready to continue the game. The system gives the first bonus. Defeating the goblin gives 300 points which are added to the previous playthrough points, confirming a big advantage in the second playthrough. Sahan was shocked but quickly grasped the situation, realizing that the second playthrough gave him a huge advantage and the opportunity to become much stronger. He realized his absolute advantage. He had exclusive access to pay-to-win items, far beyond the new players. The player profile appears. Sahan Kim with 700,300 points, accumulated bonuses and previous profits. A mysterious eye appears in the sky, watching over the complex area of buildings like a game arena, signaling the beginning of a new stage and that the entire area is now under the surveillance of the system game. A mysterious voice is heard, inviting the character to enter the game of the gods, confirming that the world has now completely turned into a game of the gods and the true test has just begun. Confusion with the sudden change in the situation, indicating that the game of the gods has begun and they are now participants. A mysterious voice announced that from now on they were officially players, forced to participate in the game of the gods without the option to refuse. The voice emphasized that all participants must complete each main mission, shocking them and starting to realize the seriousness of this deadly game. It is announced that failure to complete the mission will result in punishment, then horrific evidence is shown as monsters slaughter humans, confirming the deadly consequences. The mysterious message ends, leaving the humans confused and panicked, questioning the meaning of the game that had just been announced. Sahan began to realize that it was a game of the gods, and he thought about taking advantage of it by increasing his status or strengthening his equipment to survive. He realized the gods were starting to watch them directly, so he decided he had to act more cautiously so as not to attract too much attention. The observer appears, a creature with eyes that functions as a watchdog for the gods and the GM, monitoring the players in various forms according to their goals. Sehan realized that if he acted suspiciously, the quest difficulty would increase, while the gods would not let the player off the hook easily. He chose to fight normally, so as not to stand out and make the game more difficult. Pretending to struggle while fighting the goblins, but realizing that his actions were still too obvious and not enough to disguise his strength. Realized something while facing the goblin, indicating that someone was calling. She began to understand that the appearance of this monster is real and follows the rules of a game, not a normal occurrence in the real world. Sehan realizes that the world has changed completely. Strange notifications and sounds indicate that the old reality is no longer valid. Calmly and alertly, indicating that she was starting to accept the situation and was ready to face the game of the gods. She was considered too calm in facing the strange situation, making Sehan surprised and questioning his attitude. She turned around and asked in surprise how Sehan could get rid of the monster so easily. A main quest suddenly appears. They must escape from the campus in 2 days with difficulty level E. Players gathered on campus, and a notification appeared that each person's reward would vary depending on their contribution, so everyone was encouraged to actively participate. Sehan decided to stop the conversation and asked her to move quickly, worried that danger would come if they were late. Braced and clenched his fists, showing his determination to face the upcoming dangerous situation. A monster suddenly appears with a loud roar, signaling an immediate threat and imminent danger. Several other monsters appeared and attacked together, roaring ferociously as they searched for targets. They ran to avoid the monster's attacks, while pulling it to keep moving and safe. Monsters appeared on campus, and panic spread. Those who fled first, while the unsuspecting players realized the danger and began to panic. They had all been massacred by a horde of goblins. Sehan explains that goblins are only as strong as adult humans, and the situation will be more under control if people start working together and forming groups. He knew that the hobgoblin's appearance signaled a far more dangerous threat and that things could change drastically. Shocked to find they had entered the safe zone, a secure area that provides temporary protection from danger. He recalled his first experience of suffering, running desperately until he finally hit the safe zone boundary and survived at a critical moment. Inside the safe zone, it is like a safe area in the game, while the goblins are prevented from entering, making it safe. Emphasizes that the safe zone is a special area like in the game, where monsters, including goblins, cannot penetrate. The monster tried to break through the safe zone, but was immediately bounced off and failed to penetrate the protective barrier. The monsters realized they couldn't penetrate the safe zone and eventually retreated, proving the area was truly safe. They decided to take a short break in the safe zone before continuing their journey. A few moments later, 2 people were seen panicking and running fast, as if being chased or trying to escape from danger. Suddenly, a surprise attack hit from behind, making the goblin lose. It turned out that he was the one who suddenly released a dangerous power, his eyes glowing red as he prepared to counterattack the threatening enemy. It's revealed that the players are still being watched. The gods monitor them through observers, indicating that everything that happens has a purpose and that the threat isn't truly over. The observer's eye belongs to Arctatus, the game master, who directly monitors the players from behind the screen. Sehan suddenly dropped down and told his colleagues to leave immediately, signaling the emergency situation and the danger that was about to occur. Observer signals that something is wrong and the situation is starting to get out of control. A mysterious figure observes, judging Arctatus too impatient to be a top-tier GM, but that weakness works in his favor. With the system visible, Sehan immediately quickly pressed the button. He realized that there was something or a strange appearance that only she could see himself. A mysterious notification appears. Earth has been selected as the arena for a new role-playing game, confused and suspicious of what will happen next. It was a gaming forum belonging to the gods, with features like a regular internet forum, making it clear that this system was nothing new. Players on the gods forums are talking about GM Arctatus being considered boring, while also being surprised that a player would go straight to the safe zone, indicating someone was acting intelligently while others dismissed it as luck. Realizing he and Jisoo were being talked about, saw the gods' chat room as an opportunity to gather information and plan their next move. Moving fast and shooting up, showing extraordinary skill abilities to reach the next goal. Shocked and amazed, realizing the quality of this game world was far beyond expectations. Jewelry and rare items appear sparkling, indicating high-value prizes or loot that can be obtained. Many quest features are still locked, and it is suspected that their unlocking depends on the game's progress level, indicating a strict and gradual game system. Found the main quest to be the most important element, but it was still locked, although he had already begun to guess what would be transferred when the quest was unlocked. The transfer system is still ambiguous. It is not clear whether it is full or partial, because there is no detailed explanation of the system. He discovered the multiplayer package feature, realizing that this system was not a solo game, but involved many other players. Confused by the meaning of multiplayer package, and began to speculate that players could form parties. A party system was introduced. Members were bound by a contract and could not betray, with a maximum of 5 people, bonuses such as skill sharing, and the leader had the right to control the members. Finished checking the expensive items, then called Jisoo to gather because he found something important. Someone reassured the others to stay together, and it seemed the participants were starting to form groups. The players gathered and agreed to work together, intending to face and defeat the monsters together. The group started attacking the monsters together, and a battle eventually broke out. The battle turns chaotic. One member is overwhelmed by the monster's attack and calls for help. Monsters surround from all directions, but the team tries to survive and protect each other. After the situation was a little under control, Sehan invited Jisoo to go and immediately make a move. They agreed to move immediately and continue the journey, even though the situation was still dangerous. He realized the girl had stopped asking questions and quickly adapted to the situation, making the journey feel easier even though it still felt awkward. He then handed her an item before they left, signaling preparation and caution before continuing their journey. Giving the dagger stolen from the goblin to his companion to use, making sure all members are ready to fight. Sehan refused the weapon and chose to monitor Jisoo, showing a calm and caring attitude. Sehan gave them simple weapons and one additional item for self-protection before they continued their journey. The item given turned out to be a VIP brooch, a game-like item that speeds up wound recovery and increases points by 20%, leaving the recipient surprised and curious about its origins. Explaining that the VIP brooch was obtained as a drop after defeating a goblin, while the Jisoo realized it was clearly a special item, not a regular accessory, thus becoming more convinced that their situation was not normal. Jisoo knows that it explains that the VIP brooch is purchased from the DLC store. It is expensive but worth it because the effect is strong and can be activated or hidden. He considered the 20,000 points for wound healing to be well worth it, especially since the item also increased the points gained by 20%, making it a very profitable investment. Hiding and observing the surroundings carefully, aware of dangerous situations while being secretly watched from a distance. A mysterious man finds something in his area, indicating he has found an interesting toy.